Yeah, headphones is all. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Let's go.
The James Krause. I have a question. Have you ever met
Yes.
James Krause?
Have I ever met James Krause?
Yeah, the other one that took everything from you.
No, I
Took
have
your
not.
name
Oh,
when
so
you said the. I
you're aware of
am.
the situation. Then no, I
Yeah.
no. What's crazy is I actually went to the same college as him. I went to school with the kid, and no, he's from my area. Like he lives close to me,
You
and I
never
have no
thought of
idea.
like searching him, like
I
looking
need to I need to look him
him
up.
up?
I need to look him up and go pay him a visit. Put the sticks to him.
Get your name back.
That's right. Get my name back. It pissed me off because the dude's got like one follower. He's not even active on. Anyway, I'm bringing up old stuff. No, I have not. The answer is I have not, but I need to.
Yeah. Invite him to the gym.
I should. I should. I
Yeah.
should.
Another thing I wanted to ask you. So I heard that you were fighting the decision that you had that you took on like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This. So like,
I
how's that going? Did you end up getting it?
I didn't. I want to let it be known that I did not fight anything because I could give a shit less. There's a couple things that I want out of a fight, and for me, both of those things are already gone. So it makes no difference to me what happens with this fight. And that is a win and my other half of my paycheck. Those are the only things I care about. And it's obvious, like I won't get a win out of this. It would just be turned to a no contest at best case scenario. But I think everybody knows like the these things very rarely get overturned. Uh, anyway, I think the pandemic happened or whatever, and I think it just kind of fell to the wayside. To be honest with you, I really don't. I haven't followed up on it. I don't care. So it doesn't. I don't think there's anything going on. I haven't heard anything about it in quite a while. Like I said, unless somebody's got the other half of my paycheck and a W to put next to my name on that, I really could give a shit less about it.
I actually thought that's how it went. That's what tells you how uninformed I am. I thought, okay, if you win, they say something about like the referee because not the referee, the judge, because
Yeah.
obviously like he knew the guy you were fighting and stuff. So I thought that was the case, and then they like just made a whole court thing or something. I'm not really too sure how these things work.
Yeah. So.
And then it would be like, yeah, he
Uh,
like confesses or something, and then you get the win and the extra paycheck. is
I
that,
don't.
is that horrible that I just
That's.
said that?
I don't think that's how it works.
I swear to God, I
Yeah,
thought.
I don't know. I hope he confesses like, hey, this guy won. You should give him his
Like you
bonus.
go into and you're just like, yeah, I lied. I mean, we cool, so
I don't
yeah.
think that's how it works. Unfortunately, I wish it was. I'd hire a lawyer and get him up there. Like, anyway, no, you know, I don't know. It's the whole thing is just it's super frustrating to me because I feel like when I took that fight, the odds were already stacked against me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
out of my weight class I had a Coke in my hand, like drinking a Coke, and which is odd because I don't drink a lot of soda to begin with, and I did. I was just being a fat ass, on the during the week because I was there to coach. I was there to corner somebody, and they asked me. Well, they didn't even ask me. I offered it up. To be honest with you, I said, hey, I'll fight him, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think that anything would come about it. You know how those things go. It's just like there's a lot of talk, and very rarely does this stuff actually follow through. And they're like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta pay me for it though. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not fighting this big ass dude on my normal deal. Anyway, ended up working through, and I got the number that I wanted, and it was a good move. I would do it all over again, but then I had all that stacked against me, and I go into the fight, and I really I truly in the fight and watching it back 100 times, I truly feel like I won the fight. I mean, I really do, and especially. And if you would have told me that I just lost a split decision, like I can't really, it was close. You know what I mean? Like I can't bitch and complain about it. It is a close fight, but when you tell me I lost the fight because I lost the first round, that's where I have a problem with the way
Had
things were
like
scored.
4 minutes in
Yeah,
his back.
I had,
four
I had
minute
his
back
back for
control.
yeah, I
Defending,
had his back
defending,
4 minutes.
defending. Yeah.
Yep, and then so I lost that round, and it's just like, man, like that tells me. So the one judge that he had an affiliation with, had me losing the first round, obviously had me losing the second round, and then had me winning the third round, which like tells me is like, man, you never were gonna give me a fair shake anyway. So it's just, it's just kind of disheartening that it's like we're still in such a young sport where it's like dude, like you didn't think about bringing that up as like a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? It's just kind of frustrating that that guy was never going to have me win no matter what. You know, so it's just it is what it is. I hate to hold on to the past, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me that was really annoyed with that still, because like I said, I truly feel like I won the fight. Just flat out, I feel like I won the fight. Like I won the first round. He whooped my ass the second round, and I feel like I pressed the action. In the third round, I was pushing him back. I had more strikes landed, more strikes attempted, more significant strikes. I was controlling the octagon. It was close, but I was winning all those. So take that, but then take it another step further. Now you're telling me I lost the fight because I lost the first round, not the third round. That's where I start to have like a little bit of animosity towards it. And anyway, yeah, it's annoying as shit, to be honest with you, but it is what it is.
I was so amazed because in the second round you were just like, man, I'm getting my ass beat, right?
Oh,
and
I was getting mollywopped.
Yeah, your coach is kind of like, amped you up and you went out. And for me, what was amazing is the fact that like you took it on short notice. Like you said, like you're eating like crap, all of this, and all of a sudden it's just like a second gas tank. Like you got it out of nowhere. Now you're just going forward, throwing shots. Like you think like after like a tough second round, right? Because if I put it together, it's just like short notice, no training camp, right? Awesome first round. First round was probably for somebody without a training camp what they, like the goal, right? Like you have no cardio, you got to do it all in the first. So in the first, like almost having a submission, and then it going to the second round, and the second round just being a tough like round. And then sitting down,
I was getting my ass beat. Like, you can say it. You can say it. I got my ass whooped. You can say it. Yeah.
And then I don't know, like how in your mind you didn't just go like you didn't go, oh, it's because I had no training camp. It's because of this, like you didn't. And this round sucked. Like you didn't kind of give in to that feeling. I don't know if you even had that feeling, but like.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll be honest with you. When I sat down in between the second and third round, I remember sitting down. I remember getting up, walking back to the stool. I'm like, God dang, he whooped my ass. And I remember sitting down and like I'm looking at my coach Mark is talking to me, and I just remember like it's kind of weird. You know how like in the movies, like when there's internal dialogue happening and the person talking is like zoned out, like you can't hear what they're saying, but there's a lot of internal dialogue happening. That's pretty much what was happening. Like I was looking right at him. I just couldn't hear. It was like a grenade just went off, and you know what I mean. I couldn't hear anything he was saying, but in my head, I was like, I have to go out and I have to try to knock this guy's head off to win. Like, I know what I need to do, and I was tired. Like for sure, I was tired, but I mean, what are my alternatives? My alternatives are to sit there and do nothing. Like I don't. Yeah. Losing a decision is like, to me, I tell my guys that I coach, like there's no honor in losing a decision. Like just because you lost a decision, it doesn't make it any better than getting knocked out or getting submitted. So for me, it's like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out on my shield, like I'm old school. I've been fighting for almost 15 years. I've been around the block. I have, I don't know, somewhere between 60 and 70 fights, pro and amateur, kickbox, everything. So this is not my first rodeo, and I know how to fight tired, and I've been around the block quite a few times, and that guy's not better than me. You know what I mean? Like that. And if I can get off the couch and do that with like literally no training camp, eating like absolute shit the entire week, and I trained for 6 hours on Tuesday, 6 hours on Tuesday, 2-3 hour sessions on Tuesday. So imagine if I had a real camp, eating for a performance. Like I'll decimate that dude, and easily. Anyway, that's besides the point. It's just, but I guess what you're saying is like, I just didn't feel like there was really another option. The option is like, there was never a question. It's like, I have to try to win, I have to try this. And shit, he was just as tired as me. You know what I mean? Like that, it's not like he was, I don't know. I could feel him getting tired. He was lumping me up on the ground, but like, I could feel him. He was yelling and screaming and shit like that in the third, but like, dude, like, I've been around. I know the game well. I know when somebody's got a poker face on, and like I know when I'm getting after you, and I know when I'm landing. and I could tell he was getting tired, but I just didn't see it as another option, I guess, is the short answer.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've changed a little bit? Because well, this will kind of go off topic, but I'll talk about it later because I'm really excited to. It's your coaching, right? Like you've coached a bunch of fighters, last minute, amazing guillotines, amazing neck attacks.
Thank you.
Like I said, it's something like I want to go into, but like, do you feel like you've changed a little bit as a fighter when you became a coach? Like, you know how some people say like, oh, like I have a child now, so now I fight for them. Like, has your mentality changed at all? Like to try, kind of like to try to be an example for them?
Uh, the problem is that most people don't know is I've been coaching pretty much my entire career. I've been coaching since way before I should have been coaching. I'm just getting a little bit more known for it now is the only difference. So I really don't know any other way. Like before I would just coach amateur guys, and like, you know, now the guys that I'm coaching are just starting to get really good. And, you know, now it's more of in the last like probably 4 years, I've really owned it. Like, hey, I'm a coach. Hey, we're systemizing this. Hey, this, like, there's actual, 4 or 5 years probably, we're actually like, I consider myself a coach. Like, I'm not just helping you out. Like, I'm actually your coach, and we're systemizing how we train, and, everything has a method and all this, we're getting a little bit more, I'm getting more savvy with it, I guess. But to answer your questions is yeah, because I feel like that I have a look that no other coach has, and that's like what actually works in there. Like, because we all learn techniques, but when you get in there, it's just like, for example, I probably am not going to throw up a lot of triangles and arm bars. I'm a first degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, almost second degree, but like I'm not gonna. The odds of you finishing something from your back are just slim. So if I throw that up and if I don't get it, the chance of me getting my face smashed in with a punch or an elbow are pretty good, right? So like for me, I don't use those things to try to like sub guys. I try to use those for space to get back up now. So it's just, I feel like I have a very, very close eye on what actually works in fight, not just like, hey, this works because I've been taught this. It's like, this works because I've done it before at a high level against really good guys. This is your primary attack here. This is what works on everybody, or works majority of the time, I should say. And I feel like no other coach right now has that look like I do.
Yeah. Do you feel like it also gives you a better connection to the athletes? Like, because they're like, hey, you've been here, and like, I'm more willing to tell you because like you'll understand.
Yeah, they see me doing the things that I'm teaching, in live goes in the gym and in fights, and if listen, I can't tell you how many coaches like get up and say like, oh, you gotta put your big boy pants on. You got to go out there in between the second and third, and you got to push. And man, it's hard to take advice from somebody that who has never done that. But when my guys look at me and they see me go do that, it's like I can get behind that. They've watched me do that before, and I think it's just a lot easier to lead by example, and they follow by example than it is just to. I'll never ask my guys to do something that I haven't done 2 or 3 times already. You know what I mean? Like I've taken those short notice fights multiple times. It's where I'm from the Midwest. Like we fought every weekend. I fought multiple times in one night on more than one occasion. I fought 3 times in 1 week before, like 3 times in one night before. This is not abnormal where I'm from. Maybe not anymore, but like when I started, this is not anything admirable or crazy. It's just how we did it then, So yeah, I think it's just a lot easier when they see me do it and they see me having some success with it. It's a lot easier for them to buy in on the program whenever they see me doing the things that I'm teaching.
Yeah. So because of that, because of like, you said like you've taken fights on short notice. Some of your athletes have as well, and tremendous results. But does that like, is there just no like weight cut culture around your gym? Like, because to take anybody who like really cuts weight, they're like, you need to give me 5-6 weeks, to make it. So to take a short notice fight, you can't really be that far off like your weight.
Yep.
So is it because like everybody stays lean, or because you just aren't a big fan of weight cuts? Because I know you used to cut to 155.
Yeah, I'm about 195 right now, and that's typically what I made my 55 cut when I started going to 55 to. I would typically cut water the last 24 hours anywhere from 73 to 78. to make 55 the last 24 hours. And I would start at 95, 90, 95-ish usually. I've really two things come to mind. Like one, I've really embodied that like I don't want to say no weight cut culture, but what I am saying is if you're a guy looking for an opportunity, like Kevin Kroom, for example, I'm sure you've seen his fight, guillotine. He's not a 55er. He's a 45er that can make 35. So, we accepted at 45, but if 55 came and we just took it to get him in, you know what I mean? So, and then the previous one before that would have been, I'm sorry, one after that was Derek Minner. He's a 45er as well, but I try to keep it 15 pounds seems to be the money spot. And like I have Grant Dawson, who's a 45er. He's as big as they get. I've seen him. This is no bullshit. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. I've seen him walk in at 145 fight at 178 and a half pounds on fight night. Big dude. But it's starting like those cuts add up. So we just moved him to 55 and he's a big, strong kid. He doesn't have his man body yet, so he'll work into that. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna take a short notice fight, we we can't have much of a cut, right? Like my last three guys that have got in have been on 24 hours notice. So it's like, you have to do that. And then secondly, the culture that I create is like, I literally just sent this text 10 minutes ago. This is his schedule. If he's late or doesn't show up, tell him not to fucking come back. Like, I don't have time for people that want to do this halfway, because I did that early on to where it's like, okay, man, I'll train you for 6 weeks, and then you go away for 6 months, and then we got to start over. And I won't do that anymore. This is your schedule. This is what it's going to take to make it to that top level. You want to be in the UFC? This is what it takes, right? Like, so if you don't want to be in the UFC, that's fine. But if you do, this is your damn schedule. Stick to it. If you're late or, you better call me, you better text me. The short answer is like, we live the life. We don't take 3 weeks off. Like, you get 1 week max off after your fight, and you're back in the gym. You're back on your schedule. Like, it just is what it is. If you want to live this life, this is the requirements that are necessary to be ready to take those short notice fights. And now I'm getting more buy-in because they're seeing guys that are having success taking those short notice fights, having success with them because they're ready. They're ready to take them. You know what I mean? There is no Kevin just fought less than a month ago before that. He stayed in the gym and was ready. We got like 2 or 3 calls for him before. It was a fucking roller coaster to get him there, but he stayed ready every single week. He's ready. He's ready. Almost cutting weight every week. Like, dude, I'm ready to take a fight whenever. I flew him out to Vegas one time, just like, hey, if you guys need a guy, he's there. He's there. You know what I mean? Like, there's no flight. He's there. Got his medicals done. I paid to have his medicals done before. Like, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get these guys in. And we paid for his medicals out of our pocket. We paid for his blood work to get done. I flew him out to Vegas. Like, these are the things that we're willing to do to show that we're ready. And then finally we get the call and we're ready to take it. You know what I mean? It's not like these guys are like, oh, I'm coming off the couch. No, these dudes are ready, man. They're ready to fight.
So, like, obviously with you, like, leading the spotlight of I'm ready to fight whenever, and we're seeing us seeing like a lot of your athletes do that. Is there now kind of like, it just kind of seems like if we need a fight on short notice, just call you and you'll have somebody, right?
I got a guy for everybody.
I feel like that's like the picture you're painting. So is there any fighter in your gym now that you'd feel like if the UFC called, he would be ready and he would be like spectacular? He or she?
Absolutely. I have a ton. I have a kid named, a lot of them are just getting signed. I have a kid named David Onama. He fights on my show on Fight Pass. He'll fight again here in a few weeks in October 12th or 9th or whenever that Friday is. He's been offered a Contender Series fight. It fell through, but he's ready. I have a girl named Alexa Culp. She's an Invicta. She could compete well. She 1-0 in Invicta. She's only got, I think that was her debut. She's 1-0. Like, she'll be ready in a few fights. I have a kid named Mike Breeden that just lost on Contender Series. He lost the decision to Canada's #1 lightweight prospect. But he's ready too. And he had there's a bunch of back end shit that doesn't matter. But yeah, to answer your question, the answer is absolutely. I have guys that I have a kid that's an amateur that beats up most of my pros. Like, I have a whole I have 10 other guys that nobody's ever heard of that beat a lot of my guys in the UFC. Like, The answer is absolutely, and we have a guy for everybody. If you guys need somebody on 24-hour notice, I'm your guy to call. Like, we have the people, and not only do we have the people, my guys are ready to fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a body. You're not putting a body in. Like, you're putting, and I think we're showing that. I think we're proving that. Like, we're not just a body to go, you know what I mean, to go fight. Like, our guys are going to bring it. Win, lose, or draw, you're going to know you're going to fight the next day.
So I wanted to ask you about the fight, both guillotines that had happened with Kevin Kroom and Derek Minner.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that like short notice or stepping in, you know, it's like the first time. Obviously, the jitters for that are, well, I don't know for everybody else, but I was just quiet because I felt like if I said or did anything, I was just gonna collapse, right? So like with those nerves, right? Like I said, this is more about me and like my experience of it. So if I'm nervous, if I'm competing, if I'm doing this, and I have like an initial like submission position, right? So they had the guillotine and they adjusted. So how it like are these something that like you're drilling, like, dude, like if you're under pressure, it doesn't matter if you feel like you're losing it, switch. Like is that something that everybody just naturally came about because of so many guillotine chokes that it's just natural now?
My gym is a guillotine gym. We have a bunch of good guillotiners in here, so that helps. Derek, that was my first fight with Derek. Derek's, if you look at his record, he's guillotined 20 people already. So he's a guillotiner by naturally on his own before he even came to me. But I think this just comes with going back to the cultural thing that we talk about is like these guys have 10,000 plus reps with this move. You know what I mean? This is not like my guys are sharks. If they hurt you, they're coming after you. You know what I mean? And that includes me in the gym. Like they don't give a shit. Like I teach my guys like the name is just a body out there. You know what I mean? Like and I think it just goes with the experience that we demand and the culture that we demand here is like, dude, just because your name has some numbers attached to it or whatever, like everybody is mortal. And if I hurt you, I'm coming after you. Like you're a shark. And we do that safely. You know, I'm not big on hard sparring or anything like that. Like I hate that actually. But I feel like just confidence, you know what I mean? It's just having confidence in what you're doing. And I think it's just, these guys have drilled that so many times. They're just very comfortable with doing it. And they have so many options from there, you know, so many different grip options, S grip, shotgun grip, you know, all the different options. They can go high elbow, arm in, arm out. Like they're just so comfortable because they have so many different options to finish there. And I'll be honest with you, I think the majority of jiu-jitsu in the UFC is garbage. I think they suck at it. Like, you know, the majority of the people aren't very good at jiu-jitsu. I just don't, you know, and these guys can grapple. Both these Kevin and Derek both can grapple their asses off. So, I mean, I just, you know, it's like you come from like is it taekwondo or karate, some sort of yeah. How many reps do you like? You're comfortable with that. You can do that with your eyes closed. You know what I mean? Like
it's not do that forever and still do that.
Exactly.
That's how many times I did it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that the guillotine is just to answer your question. They are like that with the guillotine. They have so many options, so many ways to finish that. I don't think it's about like I switch here. I think it's about like, oh, you want to block this? I'm going to the next grip, or you know what I mean? Like they just have so many different pathways to success with that move. And I teach in series too. It's like, okay, if they go step one, you know, there's always a next transitional step to whatever is next.
Yeah. Is there like, so you talked about the different grips, arm in, arm or out. Is there one that like you think, if I have this, like that's it. This is like the most powerful grip
for me.
Mm-hmm.
Arm in. I like arm in. Under, I do this like it's like an X grip. So this one comes under the neck. This one comes to the armpit. There's no roll. Yeah. We talk about this. It's kind of like athletic positions versus technical positions. Like this is really important in MMA, in my opinion. So like there's athletic defenses versus technical defenses. And I'll give you an example. An arm out guillotine where it's just neck only. Athletically, you can just roll through that and barrel roll out of it, right? Like you don't really need to know how to get out of a guillotine. If you just start rolling, you'll probably get out. Whereas an arm-in guillotine, it stops the roll. So you have to technically know how to get out of that move, right? So it's the same thing as like side mount. I favor my guys favor half guard over side mount. Side mount, you're always one underhook away from your guy getting back up. They can athletically just shoot up. To whereas half guard, you have to technically know how to get up from that position. You can't just athlete out of half guard, right? Like, so it's also about having fight IQ to know like what moves, like what is my opponent? Is he an athlete or is he technical, right? And then exploiting those along the way. So, you know, with the Kevin knew on that power guillotine that's why he transitioned to the ninja choke or whatever, because Rowe already started to roll out. So that's when he transitioned to where it stops the roll. So it's just, once again, knowing technical defense versus athletic defense. He takes the athlete right out of it, makes it a technical. And obviously he technically didn't know how to get, and that's the end of the line. Like, that's a bitch to get out of once you're in that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw, I think it was like Unfiltered when you talk with Tim Elliott. Mm-hmm. And speaking, so I heard the phrase and I was like, you know what? This is a lot of logic. That is greatly said. Like the technical and the athletic, like a lot of people just, and I think this is kind of why jiu-jitsu has lost a little bit of like, and which I feel like it's gaining it back again, but it lost a little bit of the shine. You're right. Yeah. Like I just feel like everybody's just like, oh, just get up, just do it's fine, just get up, just explode out, and like I'm here like trying to learn these techniques, and like people are exploding out, and I'm just like, yeah, but when I get this, or like when I switch, you're not gonna get up, and then that one time where you couldn't get up, like you're gonna wish you like learned it correctly. You know what I mean? So like, I thought that was like a great thing to not only like to say, to explain, but also to like just keep encouraging the person. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, oh, they're always getting up, they're always doing that. Yeah, they're doing it athletically. That means you have to like fix something up technically, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm like, okay, for example, on athletes, if you take the palms of their feet, the flats of their feet off the floor, nobody can get up athletically when their feet are off the floor. Like, think about it. Like, if you just lay on the floor and your heels are touching, you're not athletic there. But if the palms of your feet are on the floor, you can jet up real quick. And that's just like, it's just fight IQ. And I think I truly believe, I really believe we're doing things a little differently there. We're focusing on different things. And like, I feel like our gym we set ourselves apart with like, I focus on 5 things, and it's blending everything together: striking, wrestling, grappling, blending it all together as one. Clinch, I feel like everybody in the clinch sucks. Wrestling on the wall, I feel like everybody's wrestling on the wall is absolute dog shit. Not everybody, the majority. I speak of majority here. Clinch, wrestling on the wall, blending, fight IQ is a big one. Athletic versus technical positions is talking about when to do what, and then organizing your game. You know, like organizing a funnel. It's where you're not just, it's not your game doesn't just look like random chicken pox. You know what I mean? It's you should constantly be creating a pathway to success. Like, for example, if you put me on somebody's back, the odds of me winning that fight, how ironic, I just lost a fight and I spent the first round on the back. But if you put me on somebody's back, the odds of me winning that fight are like, they drastically shoot up. So
of course,
my whole game should be to get to somebody's back, right? Or, you know, whatever yours is. If you can establish like a kicking range, right? Like, because you're very good at traditional martial arts. If you can establish a kicking range, the odds of you winning that fight drastically shoot up. So how do we, funnel our entire game to that? You know, and it's just like that. I feel like those 5 things set us apart from a lot of different people, because it's just like, I'm seeing some of this stuff out here, and it's just very, very Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, and I feel like that. I feel like those days are. You know, you were starting to say it, you just didn't want to say it. I'll say it. I feel like jiu-jitsu is becoming less and less effective. I'm almost a second-degree black belt. Jiu-jitsu is becoming less and less effective in MMA by the day. By the day it is. And when's the last time you seen somebody catch an armbar from the back? Name it. In the UFC. In the UFC.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It happens, but not very often. You know what I mean? Like, when's the last time you seen somebody catch a triangle from guard? It happens. Not very often, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
But like, I don't feel like that's like jiu-jitsu. I don't know, dude. I love grappling. You can't do
I
this
do
to me.
too. Hey, I do too. No, no,
You
no.
can't do this
Don't
to me.
get it twisted.
I'll fight you to the death.
No, I'm
But
with
like,
it.
I just feel like it's just they're just not doing it right. It's not that it doesn't work, you know. Like
Well, I just feel like
if you're
no.
not gonna control, if you're just gonna like just shoot it out, if you're not gonna go through the steps and like,
Listen, I'm
of
not
course
saying
it's
it
not
doesn't
gonna
work.
work.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying we need to think about what we're doing this for. So, for example, I love triangles and arm bars from guard, not to finish because the odds of me subbing somebody are slim. I
Yeah.
use those things as they pull that arm out for the arm bar. I use that to create space and get the turtle or a position that I'm much more athletic in that I could get back up, right? Or, or I try to sweep to create space, not for sweep because I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sweep most of the people that I'm fighting. So I'll use that sweep for them to post their hand or something to give me the space to get back up. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying I think we need to have a mindset shift in the sport on where we need to be. Now, jiu-jitsu on top, let's go. I'm with it. You know what I mean? I think the jiu-jitsu guys need to punch a little bit more and you're good,
Yeah.
but it's all about creating a pathway to success. It's not like, let's not just throw Kimuras and random shit out there. Like we need to have a nice funnel to success. And I just think we need to switch the mindset and how we're doing it. And there's guys that are killing it with jiu-jitsu. Like there's always exceptions to the rule. Damian Maia, Charles Oliveira, like these guys, I don't want to be in their guard. You know what I mean? Like they're killers.
Yeah.
They're killers. And their fucking top game is nuts. You know what I mean? Like there's always exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, if you take the top 20 out, top 20% or top 10%, and you focus on that middle 80%, those guys are probably not going to sub anybody off of their back. Does it happen? Yeah. Yes. Not very often, though.
But do you feel like it's kind of so for me it's always it's been kind of this dilemma, right? Like I want to find like a specialist in everything, like a great jiu-jitsu, but it's just like that guy's great at jiu-jitsu in a gi. I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna translate that. Okay, I'll get to that later. Great wrestler. How do I add wall? I'll figure it out, right? And then I go like every single one, and then there's like the MMA gym that kind of like that
puts it all together.
Yeah, puts it all together. But I feel like independently, they're not as good in wrestling as this. But I guess that's kind of like why UFC is so beautiful, right? Because this is the whole thing. So for me, it's like I feel like it's become like a modern thing where it's just like the various gyms and the various arts are like what's competing against the blending.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like what's actually missing is the blending, or should it all just be given in a blending package? I just made that really confusing.
No. I understand.
Okay.
I feel like if you come to me, I'll give you an example. Like if you're fighting in the UFC, and I said, okay, we're gonna focus on the next 6 weeks, and we're gonna work on your go-go plata from guard. What would you say to me?
Really?
Why? Why don't you like that?
It's not really like that high percentage, and like to get that, I'm already on my back, and which happens a lot anyway. But I mean, I'll give you an argument. It might work.
the point I'm trying to make is I want to focus on the things that are going to yield me the most results, not results, the most results.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So like, I'm not going to spend an entire camp focusing on a go-go plata because the odds of that even coming into play are slim. You know what I mean? Like, and there may be fights where you don't even see that. So like, I want to focus on like something basic, just like a cross grip get up. You know what I mean? To where it's like, man, I don't have to teach this. Like you grab somebody's wrist from a cross side, clear your hips and get the hell up. Right. So I feel like that will yield me far more results, and I will see that same thing over and over again, which is why we're talking about guillotines. We're not talking about triangles and arm bars. We're talking about a very, very high percentage move. If you're going to see my guys win by submission, it's probably going to be a rear naked choke or a guillotine. They're very high percentage moves.
That's actually the Grant and Colin. That's how they one of like a few fights like that. Rear naked chokes. Yeah, high percentage. I totally agree.
Because the time we're spending is going to be more. It's bringing us more. Like we're not spending time on results. We're spending time on the most results. If I'm going to spend 6 weeks on something, I want to make it 20% better, not 1% better, like the go-go would or what. You know what I mean? Like, if I focus on guillotine and variations of the guillotine and rear naked choke and variations of the rear naked choke, I would much rather spend 6 weeks on that than 6 weeks on something that may not even come out.
So, like, do you have any? I don't know. I like to do crazy shit, and I like to practice crazy shit.
So do
Very
I.
low percentage, Like I love it. So with that, but obviously applies to me too. Like I should spend like a lot more time on high percentage things. But do you give like the fighters, like for example, if you have a fight coming up, there's no like looking at crazy stuff. But if not, do you give them like a sort of like window of try to of creativity, right? Like to create like their art, their own style. Do you give them like a certain time frame, or how does that
Absolutely.
work for?
Yeah. This is what I call like a foundation. Like this is your foundation. Like if you're 1 minute, 2 minutes into the fight and like we're trying to establish, hey, we're winning this, like this is where you go. You don't go to go platters yet,
Yeah.
right? But if you're dominating for 4.5 minutes, do whatever you want. I don't give a shit what you do. Do a flying go platter. I don't. You can jump across, roll around. I don't give a shit what you do. You're dominating the fight. It's your fight. You can do whatever you want. But what I'm talking about from a foundational standpoint of like, hey, I'm trying to impose my will on you, and it's not clear on who the better fighter is. I want to be on top in half guard, smashing faces with a guillotine or a rear naked choke, or or ground and pound. Like pretty much those are the three things that I focus on, and 10,000 variations of each one of those. Like I need to establish that I am that much better than you. I need to, we call it cooking. I'm going to cook you up first. Like I'm going to cook you before I try anything else. Like I'm going to get you tired. I'm going to get you beat up. I'm going to get you contemplating whether you should even be here or not. And then I'll try the stupid shit. Like those are bonus things. And you absolutely should work on those at some point. But once again, you have to understand, like if you're working on those things, like what percentage of that work is going to yield you results. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu for almost 15 years. I know the crazy shit, and I love crazy shit. Like I've won fights by flying triangle and stuff. I've done it, but like I've also established, hey, I'm this much better than you before I did that. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you can kind of get a feel. You know what I mean? Like you can get a feel for somebody pretty quick on what you can get away with and what you can't. So when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about strictly from a foundational standpoint. Like these are my foundations. This is what I stick to. This is what I start with. How about that? I start with this. It's my foundation. And then if you want to, when you're building a house, the foundation is laid. If you want to, add some different shutters or, customize a window or two, go for it. I'm all for it. You just got to have a nice foundation. And, and the building blocks have to be nice and solid first. And then after that, once the house starts to come together, you can throw whatever roof or whatever you want on. I don't give a shit. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm right. It's just all philosophy, right? This is just my idea and how I coach my guys. So, like, I'm not saying I'm right.
Hey, man, with the results you're getting, I'm going to say you're right. I'm not going to argue.
I'll take it.
Do you find any differences? Because, like, obviously you have Megan Anderson fighting against Amanda Nunes for the title, right? You have Vera Rose in your gym. Do you feel like there's a difference between, like, men's and women's MMA, or can just men and women train together and it's sort of the same thing?
I feel like they can train together, absolutely. But I do feel like there's a big difference. I feel like there's a huge difference. And I don't mean that just like in a skill manner. I feel like there's. I mean that in the sense of like I feel like the rules kind of change with women's MMA. Like you can get away with certain things that you can't in men's MMA. I feel like if you are a female and you can hit really hard, that automatically puts you in a like an echelon up. Like you have a pretty damn good head start to begin with. Where men's is a lot of people hit hard, that doesn't make you successful. But with women, if you hit hard, you're gonna go. I feel like you're gonna go. If you hit hard and you can stop an average takedown, you're good. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna go far. And I feel like that women's MMA is and I hate to even say this, and I hope nobody thinks that I'm like segregating.
I'm gonna get so offended right now. Let's go.
No,
I've
talked with you enough that I know you're not gonna get offended. But like, it's a younger sport. Okay. It's a younger sport. Women's MMA is a younger sport than men's MMA. Like we've had much more trial and error. And like, for example, with Megan, I can't tell you how many times that I've went into a fight saying, listen, if you just put big punches on this girl early, like women's body and facial structure are not they're not built to take the type of damage that men's do. right? Women can incur far more pain than men can. Absolutely. Like their pain tolerance is much higher. But facial structure is not meant to take, you know what I mean? If you can hit hard, it's not meant to take that. The bones are brittle. Like it's just not. These are facts. You know what I mean? Like they're not built to withstand heavy impact. So like I feel like even just like picking and more accuracy, like you can start to hurt the facial structure a little bit more. I also feel like with wrestling, it seems like it just seems like as a whole, the women's MMA has a harder time wrestling, like catching up, because once again, it's a younger sport. I know it's the same sport, but it's like ping pong and tennis. It just hasn't quite caught up yet, which is why I like wrestling on the wall better for women than I do in the open mat. It's just different rules in my experience that have been better for women. You know what I mean? It seems to be more grappling heavy than strike heavy. Yeah. And I'm not, once again, I'm not talking about, you know, I know you're super strike heavy, but as a whole, I feel like, you know, if you look at 100 girls, the majority of them are going to be grapple heavy over strike heavy.
For sure.
So like, it's just,
I just feel like women, for me, right? Like I have to see women like to fight them and stuff. And like, I just feel like women, they all like kind of come from judo, you know? I don't know if it's because that like all the judo women saw Ronda Rousey, or it's just women are more orientated towards judo. But like most of the takedowns, like I don't just really see girls shooting and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying.
For the wrestling, like, it's more like cage, but it's more those judo throws that like I feel they do.
Like I think as a generational thing, like it's kind of frowned upon for girls to wrestle in high school. You know what I mean? Like, so if they don't, they do it for sure. But like, you're not considered a pretty little girl if you wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, it's just kids are mean at school too.
I know, but if you didn't wrestle in high school, you probably didn't wrestle in college. If you didn't wrestle in college, you probably didn't wrestle on an Olympic team. But for men, it's the opposite. Like, you should wrestle. You should go to college and wrestle. You want to be on the Olympic team. It's just, it's more socially acceptable for guys to wrestle than it is for women. I think that's a lot of it. And then with judo, it's more of a traditional martial art to begin with, and then it can turn into something of an Olympic level. But like, I just think it's more of a traditional art to start with as a whole. So that's why more women would get into that. And I think you're going to see that change soon. I just don't think we've had the time to catch up with that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that, I just think it's a social thing.
A social thing? I mean,
yeah, it's just,
I would much rather wear a judo uniform than those like weird strap things. I get what you mean. And like, for me, like what I struggled with wrestling, right? I think this is more like going off things my dad said, right? My dad would say like, dude, the karate guys like were the best. Like, you never mess with them like around the block or whatever. Yeah. But like wrestlers didn't really have that like fame to them, at least everywhere else. And in movies, you wouldn't really see them much, right? So it's just like, it's not the takedowns that I have an issue with. It's like, it's the floor fighting that I just
I'm with it. So I'll give you another example. No, I'm with it. You're not wrong.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm in school, I'm not getting in those positions with that thing on, you know? It's like, it's hard enough, puberty and all of that. Yeah.
You're not wrong. And what sucks is like in traditional martial arts, there's always like a step up, right? To whereas like in wrestling, if you high school wrestle, like the end goal is state championships, right? Like, so if you're a girl, the state championships is good. But like after high school, your odds of going to college, probably pretty slim. But if you do, okay, let's say you go to college and you wrestle, the odds of you going to an Olympic team are like almost zero. You know what I mean? Like, so there's no progressing on top of that. And now there's like this thing, like this almost a side chick in MMA where it's like, now you have an option to go to that. Like, if college wrestling doesn't work out, you know, there's always an option to go to that. Like, if you're on the Olympic team and you didn't cut it, or if you're in college, you didn't cut it, you have the side girl that you can go check out. And, you know, it could be a really good fit. I just don't think that we've had enough time for those girls to like. There's not a lot of girls wrestling still, but it's more. It's happening more and more as MMA expands. But I think it'll be like a 15 year thing where like the new generation has to come in, has to be a little bit more socially acceptable for little girls to wrestle at a younger age, to where they're not dealing with the things that you're talking about, where it's like awkward that they're doing these positions in this singlet. And, but we're in traditional martial arts, it's just a lot easier. You have this thing, you have these belts that you get every 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Everything is
nice.
Clean. Yeah. You look nice, like
exactly
presentable and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like, speaking of, and I won't keep you for much longer. I know I've been doing your head in.
No, you're good.
But, so life out of fighting, right? When you have real estate, a gym, I think I saw you own a Metro PCS store.
I had 2. I sold them.
I know this cut off. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, like all those going on, all those projects. Like, at what point did you? Because I know you talk about like fighters don't know how to like manage. Yeah, I'm really one of them, like big time. So, like, at what age or during what did you decide, like, you know what, I'm not going to depend on fights, even though it's very strange that you take short notice fights anyway, but I think that's more mentality than anything. But it's like financially, you just don't depend on it, right? It's not like, doesn't matter how this is happening, I'm going to have to take the fight because I'm broke, at what age did you?
Have you ever been like dirt poor?
Yep. For one of my fights, I was under like, I owed the bank like $4,000.
No. I mean like you don't know where your next meal is coming from poor.
That too. When I was younger, yeah.
Same. So I had that feeling, and I have when I fought in Bellator, and I made like 10 grand, which at the time was 80% more. I think I fought Cerrone for like 2,000 or 2,000 flat or something like that. And then I got into Bellator. I took a fight on 5 days notice, cut like 33 pounds in 5 days. And I won 10,000. It was 10-10. It was their tournament. It was one of their first tournaments they did. I lost the first round because I cut so much weight. I fought like shit. So I got that, and then like one day, a couple months later, I just looked at my bank account, and I looked at it, and I was like, where in the fuck did my money go? And I literally just ate it. You know what I mean? Like, I just pissed it away. And that feeling like really hurt me, because I had a small area of like breathing room, and I didn't take advantage of it. And I got really lucky on my UFC debut. I double bonused, and I bought the
18.
Yeah,
so sick. I loved it.
I bought the gym with it, and I have never, even in the UFC, like I still don't. I like to control my future, and I love the UFC. I don't have any problem with this, and I say this in every interview that I do. Like, this is not a shot on them at all, but I refuse to rely on somebody else to pay my bills. Like, at any point, they can cut me. You know what I mean? They can do whatever they want with me. You know what I mean? Like, they can cut me. They hold all the cards. And I just don't like that feeling, counting on somebody else to pay my bills and to take care of my family. Like, I just don't like that feeling at all. It's puts a pit into my stomach to where I feel like that I'm at somebody else's mercy. And, that depends on me doing what they want to do, and when, me fighting when they want me to fight, when they want this. And like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah. And now I've put myself in a position where if I don't want to fight, I don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, I control the cards, not them. And it's just that I sleep better at night knowing that, like, I control my destiny. I control my future. I control what my paycheck looks like. And I hate that feeling of somebody else having control over what I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you like put that against like to your students as well? Do you, because like you talked about, you have to be at the gym at this time. If you're late, don't even show up, right? So with fighters especially, they're like, this is my dream. I'm going to give up everything. I don't care about anything. I just eat, sleep, do this. I don't even look at my emails because I don't want to think about it. So do you like put that onto your fighters as well? Like, this is a mentality, and you're like, no, listen, dude, you got to be smart because you have a life after. Do you do that from the start or just kind of halfway?
Typically, like, you're not making enough money until you're in the UFC, and like I kind of have like a strategy. Is I like my guys to bottom feed as long as they can. So like if you look historically, the UFC, whether they admit it or not, there's a tiered system of like, you notice like same tiers usually fight same tiers, right?
Yeah.
So like the good guys fight the good guys, just look like A, B, C, D, F, right? Whatever, however, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however the hell you want to look at it. Tier ones usually fight tier ones. And every once in a while there's like a tier 2 to fight a tier 1. The problem is that if you're a tier 3 and you beat a tier 2, you don't go back to tier 3. You stay in tier 2. So with my guys, I try to get them to fight tier 5 guys, bottom feed as long as we can. Get them through the first contract. It's where they're making more money. Like they're not like there's no like I fought Masvidal so I fought Stout my first fight, Bobby Green my second fight, Jamie Varner my third fight, and it's like once you keep going to the tiers, there's no going back. You know what I mean? So it's like stay at the bottom tier, fight those guys. There will be tough fights. There's gonna be tough fights. You know what I mean? Like, but let's get some money. Let's relieve some financial stress from you. Let's start making good decisions about, let's get your taxes right. Maybe buy a house, maybe or whatever we need to do to get you to where let's create some financial freedom first, to where you can breathe for a second and you don't have to work 40 hours a week to pay your bills. And I encourage my guys to keep a job that Kevin, for example, helps like build fences and he's cutting his hours back, but I told him he needs to keep his job to at least pay his like bare minimum expenses. Yeah. And now the fight money is money that we save at least until we can get a little bit more money stacked up, or he wants to buy a house. That's what he wants to do. So we're going to put us in a position to buy a house. Now there's obviously steps to that. So sometimes you just need a little bit more time to show job history. Sometimes you need to fix your credit or whatever it may be, but we keep that money there. You don't go spend it on shoes and shit like that. Like you keep it there. And then whenever we get through a couple fights in the contract, then we make good decisions on that. And, obviously they're grown ass men. They can do whatever they want. But like, I definitely encourage most of these guys just give me the sticks. Like they're saying, hey, what do I do with this? And I say, you're a dipshit if you do X. This is what you should do. And they listen to me. You know what I mean? Because they've seen what I've done. They
don't want to be a dipshit.
Nobody wants to be a dipshit, right? Like, because I've done it. I've been a dipshit. I've done it a few times, and it's a bad.
I've been a dipshit too.
Yeah, it's not fun to be in.
I'm always a dipshit.
It's not a fun spot to be in.
Man, if you have like counseling, I just need like just to WhatsApp you like, should I buy these shoes? And you have like a button, don't be a dipshit.
Don't be a dipshit. If the fact is if you have to ask somebody if you should do something, the answer is probably not. You know what I mean? Like that's. But yeah,
those are fun.
They are fun. They are fun. But it's once again, it's just about making good choices. And I have a kid right now that, man, he's probably got $15,000 in shoes, and he just hasn't hit to the spot yet. He's gonna have to hit a point. He's living on top of the world. He's smoking these guys left and right. He's not in the UFC yet. He'll get there pretty soon. He's really good, but he hasn't hit that hurt yet.
What's his name?
I can't dime him out like
you
that.
Can't hype him. You're hyping him up and not telling me.
I'll tell you who it is. He'll probably
okay.
David Onama. That's the kid I said earlier. He's good. He's really good. He's probably got 10,000 plus in shoes at home though. But at some point he's gonna feel a hurt. You know what I mean? From getting some money. He's like, shit, why did I do that? But he still lives at home with his parents. He's playing it right. He's playing his cards right. It's just he could do better with his money, and he knows that. But anyway, it's just about making good decisions, man. Like I see what hurts my heart so much is like I see guys that have dedicated 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and they've lost a lot of brain cells. Like they spent time away from their families and their kids, and they literally walk away and they don't have anything to show for it. You know what I mean? And it just breaks my heart to see like this. You're a professional athlete. The time does not last that long, and you have to use this money to make more money. You know what I mean? Like this money should be to set you up after this, because we have a small window here, and it's not a job. This is not like, I know people look at it as a job, but this should be as like an investment. Live bare minimum and use some type of money to make some more money. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways to make money in real estate. That's why I love real estate, is to make money in real estate with very little money down. There's so many different ways to do it. Anybody can do it. it just takes some discipline, some time. Like there's a lot of different ways to do it. So that's why I'm really big on real estate.
And I don't know what your next business or next project, but you should totally offer financial help for fighters. Like have a hotline or something. Seminars. We'll all show up.
You know what's crazy
with our horrible shoes that were overpriced. Like, okay, I'm ready now.
I've actually done some of that. I really have. Like I'm not looking to get paid on it, but if anybody has ever asked me for help, I've never said no. Like this is something I'm super passionate about because were you a part of like the athlete summit when the UFC did it? Were you there?
Yes. Was
that not the biggest fucking waste of time you've ever? I mean, it was fun. I had a blast, but like in terms of information actually gathered from that, it was a huge waste of time.
Yeah, I felt like it was more for the pictures than anything.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the Budweiser guy that was drunk?
He was drunk. Yeah,
he was super drunk. He was like, if you're not Conor McGregor, just leave.
Bro,
I
could not believe that. Could not. You guys are.
You're drunk. Man. It's 11. Oh, that was horrible. I was so traumatized. I didn't know anybody, right? Like,
it's bad.
I just had like knee surgery. I was just in Vegas, and just this drunk guy is like.
It was bad.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I wish there was a video clip of that. I wish there was a video clip of that somewhere. That would have been great. But like,
no, I mean, I changed my mind. Not like there was. What was it? Well, what was the animal on stage? There was Snoop Dogg just giving joints to everybody, and
oh god,
wasn't there like a crazy animal? I saw everybody twerking, and Cyborg punching that girl in the head.
Oh, I was there for that. I seen that. Okay. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that would be actually a really great idea if it was done correctly. minus Cyborg punching people and the drunk Budweiser guy.
Well, it makes for a better story. No, but I do agree. I remember overhearing a bunch of like guys. Like for me, I'd never been to anything UFC, and I was like super excited. So just anything would have been great. But I remember like a few fighters walking by, like, instead of this, why don't they just divide the money and give it all to us? And I was like, what? I was like kind of sad, but then I was like, I kind of get it.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Well,
man, I hope you open up your, next financial counseling, and the real estate keeps going great. Does Corona help with real estate?
I'm in the real estate market right now as a whole is the best it's ever been. So like everybody needs a place to stay. You know what I mean? Like real estate's not going anywhere. I'm sure it'll go down and up, but in the history of real estate since it's starting in a 10-year sliding period, real estate's never gone down in value ever in a 10-year sliding period ever.
All right. So you're all set then. Your gym's like kicking ass. Everyone ready to go.
Yeah, if they need somebody, they know who to call. We're ready.
Yeah. Well, I hope they call you again and we see another one of your guys and they can have 10,000 or 20,000 shoes and a house.
And a house. That's right. As long as they have the house first. We're good.
I mean, you need the shoes. Gives you motivation for the house.
Okay.
Okay. You have to have the shoes, and then you're like, oh, now I need the house to put the shoes. That's
maybe
that's
just
how it goes.
less than 10,000 in shoes. Maybe like 8,000 in shoes. That's still a pretty decent amount of shoes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that. If the house comes with it, it's worth it.
Fair enough. All
right, man. It was great speaking to you. Thank you for taking so much time and just sharing amazing knowledge and insight for everything. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. Speak soon. Bye-bye.